Assalamualaikum and greetings everyone. Welcome to our presentation on decision science. Today we are going to explore two key tools used in business strategy, which is project scheduling and linear programming. This video is presented by Group Hafsah and our team consists of 5 members: Noor Samira, Noor Inshira, Noor Patricia, Noor Afika, and Aina Natasha. We will walk you through the basic concepts, show you real-life examples, and discuss how these methods align with ethical value. Let's get started by looking at our first topic, project scheduling.
For the project scheduling, the chosen Quranic verse is the Surah Al-An'am, Ayah 59. The verse is translated to, "And with him are the keys of the ghaib, all that is hidden, none knows them but he, and he knows whatever there is in the land and in the sea, not a leaf falls, but he knows it. There is not a grain in the darkness of the earth, nor anything fresh or dry, but is written in a clear record." Next, moving on to the verse explanation. For the core meaning of the verse, Allah alone knows the unseen, ghaib, such as the future events, exact timings, and hidden details. Humans cannot predict with certainty. For the tafsir insight, from Ibn Kathir notes this emphasizes Allah's perfect knowledge, urging humility in planning and reliance on Him over overconfidence. And for the practical lessons, this encourages tawakal alongside effort so that we can estimate realistically while trusting Allah's full wisdom. There are two technical concepts under the project scheduling. The first one is PERT. PERT is the Program Evaluation and Review Technique. It's a project scheduling tool used when activity times are uncertain. Instead of one fixed duration, it uses 3 estimates: optimistic time, most likely time, and pessimistic time, then combines them to get an expected time. There are 3 underlying principles under this technique. The first one is acknowledging uncertainty in project durations. The second one is planning with probabilities, not absolute certainty. And the last one is identifying the activities that most affect project completion, which is the critical path, so that managers can focus effort and manage risk.
The next technique in project scheduling is CPM. Critical Path Method, or CPM, is a project scheduling technique used to plan and control project time. In CPM, a project is broken down into interdependent activities that must be completed in a logical sequence. Among these activities, there is a longer sequence known as the critical path. This critical path determines the minimum time required to complete the entire project. Activities on the critical path have zero slack, which means any delay in these activities will directly delay the whole project. Therefore, CPM helps managers focus on the most important tasks, monitor progress effectively, and ensure the project is completed on time. Next, moving on to the connection and analysis. This Quranic verse highlights an important reality. Allah has complete knowledge of all things, while human beings operate with limited certainty. This concept is clearly reflected in the PERT technique. PERT accepts that activity durations are uncertain and cannot be known with certainty. Therefore, it estimates time using multiple possibilities, allowing planners to manage uncertainty in a systematic way. The CPM reflects this principle differently. CPM focuses on recording every activity clearly and identifying the critical tasks that determine the overall project completion time. These critical tasks require close monitoring and accountability. Together, CPM and PERT align with key Quranic principles. They promote order through structured planning, accountability through clear documentation and control, and systematic planning despite uncertainty. This shows that effective project scheduling reflects the discipline and wisdom encouraged in the Quran. So let's look into the illustration. To strengthen this connection, consider a simple example of preparing to reach class on time. The student plans several activities, such as waking up, showering, getting dressed, preparing the bag, and going to the class. From the PERT perspective, some activities have uncertain durations. For example, the shower time may vary, and travel time depends on traffic. The student therefore consider best case, that is optimistic time, normal, that is the most probable time, and the worst case, that is pessimistic time, scenarios. This reflects PERT, which accept uncertainty and plans using multiple time possibilities. From the CPM perspective, the student identifies critical activities like waking up, showering, and traveling to the class. These tasks have no flexibility, and any delay will result in arriving late. This shows how CPM emphasizes order and accountability. Overall, this example demonstrates how CPM and PERT reflect the Quranic principle of systematic planning despite human uncertainty.
Next, let's move on to the second technique, which is linear programming. I will explain how the concept of linear programming can be understood and justified through Islamic principles, specifically using guidance from the Quran. This discussion focuses on how Quranic values support the underlying concepts of linear programming as a decision technique. The Quranic verse selected for this discussion is from Surah Al-Furqan, verse 67. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والذين إذا أنفقوا لم يسرفوا ولم يقتروا وكان بين ذلك قواما. And those who, when they spend, are neither extravagant or stingy, but are ever between that, justly moderate. This verse highlights the principle of balance and moderation in decision making. This verse describes the characteristics of the true servants of Allah, particularly in how they manage their resources. According to Tafsir Ibn Kathir, Allah condemns two extremes in behavior. The first is extravagance or israf, which refer to using resources excessively beyond what is necessary. The second is stinginess or taqdir, which refers to restricting resources in a way that leads to harm or inefficiency. Islam does not support either extreme, instead it commends a balanced and just approach. Although this verse was revealed in the context of spending wealth, Islamic scholars explain that its meaning extends beyond money. It also applies to the management of time, labor, effort, and materials. Because of this broader application, the verse is highly relevant to modern decision-making tools such as linear programming. Key underlying concepts of linear programming include: first, optimization, which focuses on maximizing benefits or minimizing costs. Number two is limited resources such as time, labor, capital, or raw materials. Number three is constraints, which are boundaries that prevent unrealistic or excessive decisions. Number four is efficiency, which aims to avoid waste and misuse of resources. And the last one is a balanced allocation, where resources are distributed fairly among competing needs. Therefore, linear programming is not only about mathematical calculations, it is about making rational, disciplined, and efficient decisions within realistic limits.
Next, connection and analysis. The Quranic guidance in Surah Al-Furqan verse 67 provides a clear ethical framework that directly supports the underlying philosophy of linear programming. The verse instructs believers to avoid two extremes, extravagance and stinginess, and instead adopt a moderate and just approach. This principle is conceptually identical to how linear programming identifies an optimal solution. In linear programming, decisions are made within clearly defined constraints such as limited resources, time, or capacity. These constraints prevent excessive or unrealistic decisions, just as Islam prohibited extravagance. At the same time, linear programming discourages underutilization of resources, which reflect the Quranic warning against being overly restrictive or inefficient. The optimal solution in linear programming lies between these two extremes. It does not exceed constraint and it does not leave valuable resource idle. Instead, it achieves the most balanced and efficient outcome within permissible limits. This mirrors the phase between the justly moderate, which emphasizes fairness, balance, and responsibility. Just as Islam promotes moderation as the most just path, linear programming seeks a solution that is neither excessive nor deficient, but optimal and sustainable. Therefore, linear programming can be understood as a structured method that operationalizes the Islamic value of wasataniyah or moderation by translating ethical balance into measurable and rational decision-making outcomes. This demonstrates that modern optimization techniques are not value neutral but can align closely with Quranic principles of justice, balance, and responsible stewardship. Lastly, practical illustration. Consider a halal bakery business that produces two products, halal bread and halal cakes. The bakery faces limited resources each day, which 40 hours of labor and 120 kg of raw ingredient. Each unit of bread required 1 hour of labor and 3 kg of ingredient, while each unit of cake required 2 hours of labor and 4 kg of ingredient. The profit earned is Rm20 per unit of bread and Rm30 per unit of cake. The bakery's objective is to maximize total profit, but it must operate within its resource limits. If the bakery focuses too much on cakes, it quickly exceeds the labor hours, which represent extravagance in decision making. If it focuses too much on bread, raw ingredients remain unused, which reflect inefficient or stinginess. By applying linear programming, the bakery identifies an optimal production mix that fully uses labor and ingredients without editing them, avoid waste and underutilization, achieve a maximum feasible profit.